Hi, everybody. Hi, David, Carrie, Estelle, Gil. Good to see you guys. Good to see all you guys participating in the book club. This is chapter 6. If you don't have the book or you haven't been caught up, I want to give you guys some free information and how to get plugged in and get caught up. That's the first thing we want to talk about because some of you guys, this is brand new for you. So here we're starting in chapter 6. It's the book Dream Your Life Amazing. We are at chapter 6 out of 10 chapters. To get caught up, all you have to do is subscribe to my blog or Dream Life Rewards. And the way you do that is you go to dreamplanner.info. The Dream Planner goes with the book, dreamplanner.info, dreamplanner.info. And if you'll sign up there, you have quite a few different options. You can get the book for free as an MP3. You can also buy the book if you actually want to get the book and the planner combo for the book club and you want to read along in a physical copy of the book. Or if you just want a printable version that you can look at the back office. There's the first 4 or 5 chapters back there for free. So you can participate at no cost, or you can buy the book if you want and upgrade or whatever. It's up to you. So dreamplanner.info for you guys to get caught up. I want to talk to you tonight about chapter 6. So this is the way it works. Every week we do a new chapter, whether it's live with you guys, whether you guys have your own book club and you're just using my video to kickstart the event. And then at the end of each one of the book club days, we go over the homework. We're going to stop the recording for my crowd. You stop the recording, and then you ask the questions in your group. How did you do with last week's homework? Because I give you guys a little bit of assignment for each week. So chapter 5, I gave you guys an assignment for last week, and we'll discuss it at the end of this call. And then talk about some of your challenges, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, the different arenas. And it's a really good opportunity for you to figure out how to take the Dream Life principles and the Dream Life Planner and implement it in all the areas of your life. And, it's just so much deeper than just read a book on your own. To get involved with a bunch of people, help them, and let them help you figure out the best way to apply these principles. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with chapter 6. Like I said, it's called Principle-Centered Leadership. Principle-Centered Leadership. The first quote here is by Stephen Covey. With people, fast is slow, and slow is fast. Now, I seriously considered writing chapter 6 as one of the first chapters, either chapter number 1 or chapter number 2, because it's so terribly pivotal in the principle of why we do everything that we do. The concept of the book, the concept of the Dream Planner, the concept of my entire life and culture is about helping people find their voice, not by using them and manipulating them into believing yours. And it's one of my great passions. In all of the years growing up, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a father. I didn't have someone to teach me. And the only people that ever approached me were people that were trying to sell me something. Most people had an idea of a thing they wanted to sell me that they thought were going to benefit me, instead of spending time talking and listening and sharing vision together. And so principle-centered leadership actually is a little slower way of doing things. But in the long run, it's so much better. It builds a community of people. One of the things that we've been looking at is one of the movies that we really like is a movie about a guy named Bailey, George Bailey. And he took the long road with relationships with people, and he learned it from his father, and he learned to care for people. And it wasn't about money. It wasn't about finance. It wasn't about taking from people. It was about giving. It was about helping them find and fulfill their dreams and their destinies. And at the end of life, when he was in the most trouble that he was ever in his life, it paid him back far greater than if he had millions of dollars in the bank. And it's one of those lifelong concepts that relationships and people that you give into for their benefit, that you will someday reap the reward of that. And if you don't with every single person, because not everybody's going to be grateful. Some people are going to hate you. Even after you give everything to them, they're going to turn on you. It's okay. It's those other people that understand your heart and your principle-centered leadership that are going to build a relationship-based business, relationship-based life that is going to pay you rewards greater than anything else you can ever imagine. And so in the book, especially in this chapter, I teach you some of the greatest tricks in sales. I teach you how to win and influence people. But it's so important for me to emphasize the fact that if you are to manipulate someone's emotions, if you are to convince anybody of anything, that the purpose that you do that is for their benefit, always and completely, eyes wide open for their benefit, that everything that you do for people is for them. And if people will come alongside you and trust you, They will allow you to guide them and to lead them into success. They will help you define what success is for them and will help guide you. So on the next page, you actually see there's some hacks, what we call life hacks. These are some of the things that if you're really good at them, like learning how to develop these things in your relationship, these 4 things: proximity, frequency, duration, and intensity. I'm not going to get into those because it's in the book. If you become really good at understanding how to build relationships and what we call emotional bridges with people, as you start to bridge with people, they begin to trust you. They begin to work together with you. And when you do that, my concept, the whole principle of this thing is to have principle-centered leadership, not results-based leadership, not results-based relationship. It's not about winning a bunch of people and taking their money out of their pocket. It's about winning a bunch of people and us together conquering the world. When you have a group of people, money, of course, is part of it. Money, of course, is part of the negotiation. And we talk about some of this later in the book and in some of the trainings that we do about how to monetize relationships. But the monetization is give and take, that everybody gets something from the relationship and everybody understands what they're getting from it. So very, very important. I know you can tell my heart in this thing. It's such a passion for me for many, many reasons. So much pain in my life of being used and abused and treated wrongly or disrespected by that type A aggressive leadership person. They don't care, or you don't feel like they care about the people in an organization. And it's really important to not propagate that just because that's the way many people do it in business. It's not the way you want to propagate life in business. And so in your relationships, whether it's your teenagers or it's your spouse or it's anybody else, learn the principles in this book, but use them based on principle. Use them based on giving the power of direction, control, speed, all the frequency, all the things that you do in business and life with that person. They are always 100% in control of the relationship. And if you do that, you'll build trust and you'll build relationships a lot longer. So we talk about synergy and cooperation. One of the things that you're going to learn is that as you grow in business and you become more successful, a lot of the things we do in life really requires the synergy of relationships with other people. And so I talk about some of the basic principles. Of course, you know, there's so many books on the subject of teams and leadership and team branding and building communities and building tribes. There's so much stuff out there that there was no possible way I could stick it in a single chapter. But I gave you some of the major points, some of the top points on what to do about relationships and becoming a people person. And one of the things that's really cool about the people person chapter, can you see that? It's kind of bright, guess not. People person, one of the things about a people person chapter is I'm naturally an introvert. And I have a lot of friends that are introverts. And when I talk about a people person, you think about it, the life of the party. The person always has conversation. They always, you know, they're always giving everybody hugs. I'm not talking about that. That there's a way to be a people person at every personality type that you are. No matter which one you are, there's a way to win people, to win and influence people. And so I talk about that in here. And it's nice to know, especially if you are a natural introvert or you're not the life of the party or you don't like chit chat. You know, the person who goes into a party and everybody's really good at the whole chit chat thing and you don't even like it. There's a way to be a people person that's not based on that. And so I give you some of the introduction to that concept in here. And next thing I want to do, evaluating relationships, pretty cool little chapter. For those of you who are building teams, if you own a company or you're building team members, it's really good for you to use this little chart that I put in here to help you place people in your life. And I'm not going to get into the principles of this because it shows the workhorse and the deadwood and how to evaluate the people in your life. What that basically does is it frees you up to have a relationship that's based on productivity. Your relationships with people, how much time you spend with them and how much energy and how much emotions you give to the crowd will be based specifically on how they fit in your life. You don't want to be spending the 80% of your time on someone who should only be getting 10% of your time. And there's a way to evaluate that. There's a way to figure out who's the best people I should be spending time with. And so that's what that tool is for. So there's our 10-minute introduction to the chapter. I want to give you a little bit of background, some of my heart and understanding of why I wrote the chapter. I want you guys to discuss homework from last week. You know, the homework that I gave you for last week, I want you to talk it amongst yourselves. Those of you who are on my live call, of course, you can talk to me about it. One of the things for next week, one of the things I want to give you is when you go through this, here's a couple points of homework for you. How do you see yourself fitting in the people person category? What type of people person would you become? Read that chapter and figure out if you are a people person naturally by that normal definition, what does that look like to you? What does it look like for you to influence people based on your person? You don't have to be somebody else. based on your personality type and the types of people that you like. How does people person look for you? That's a really good conversation, because for the person who's the life of the party, that might be an easy question to answer, but it might not. I mean, if he's the life of the party, but he's not influencing anybody, all he's doing is making people happy temporarily, that might be the hardest guy to answer this question. How do you become a people person and influence change? So that's your homework of all the chapters in here. There's a lot of stuff that you can ask questions about. Write down your questions as you read the book. Highlight the stuff that you want. I like to make a mess of my books when I read them. You know, it just feels good to be marking them and writing them and asking questions and doing all. Do that for chapter 6. Mark it up, make some questions, have that as your homework the next week. The more questions you have for your group and your community, the more lively it is for you, the more things that you learn, and the more your friends and your community will learn from you. So that's it. There's our 10-minute introduction to Dream Your Life Amazing. I'm going to stop the recording here. You guys discuss amongst yourselves, and those of you who are on my live call, of course, we can open up for dialogue and ask any questions.